Welcome back to the Stack Shack Sports Show. Today is Thursday, which means we're talking Valorant. We're previewing this weekend's matchups, starting with NRG Cloud9, and this is a huge one. Winner qualifies for the first international tournament of the year. Massive battle of North American teams in Cloud9 and NRG. To me, this is going to be an NRG win. They looked very strong against Furia. And I think this team is only going to get better as time goes on. This is a team that came together a little late. This is a super team by many people's estimations. When you take the core of Crashies, Victor, and Marved, which is one of the winningest cores in Valorant, and you add in two world champions from last season in Ethan and Demon 1, you have an ultimate team. You have a super team. C9, honestly, super impressive. I thought they were going to lose the first round. Oxy has been a fantastic surprise as a rookie, but it's not going to be enough. Could it go 2-1? Maybe. But I think this is another 2-0 for NRG and a qualification for NRG. They are just too strong. Ethan seems to have slotted into this new IGL role very, very well. Seems very solid. So that'll move Cloud9 into a rematch against MIBR later in the weekend. Loser goes home. Winner qualifies for the first international. In that matchup, I had this flipped in my pick'ems. I thought MIBR would win the first one and then lose the second one to Cloud9. So I'm tempted to flip this back and say MIBR rolls through Cloud9. You know, it's hard to beat a team twice back-to-back quickly, but I actually think they will. I think Cloud9 beats MIBR. MIBR battled with Cloud9. It was a close game. This was not a blowout, right? Bind was as close as it can get. Split. MIBR wins it. Lotus, another close matchup. So this could go either way. And we've talked many times about the parity in Valorant right now in North America and South America, in this America's region. It's tight. There's not a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. I just think Cloud9 is able to pull this one off. I think it's close. It is possible that MIBR, this is going to be one banger of a matchup, I think. Close games, just like it was the first time. But I think Cloud9 pulls it off. I think Oxy continues to improve, continues to get more and more comfortable on stage, and I'm thinking big things out of Cloud9. So there's those two matchups. Moving on to our so-called group of death that many have been speaking about. We've got what is probably my most hyped matchup of the entire weekend. Loud Leviathan. Aspas leaves Loud in the offseason, goes to Leviathan. Leviathan builds kind of a bit of a super team around him, pulling a previous world champion in Calm, pulling Tex up and away from his core team that qualified last season at the guard. And you add Aspas to a team with Mizzino and King. King, widely considered one of the better IGLs in the game. But you're going up against Loud, and Sadak is still IGLing, last I checked. Which means I don't think you're going to beat him. I don't think, even with Aspas, I've been calling him a raid boss all week. He's a raid boss. He's absolutely unstoppable. I think Sadak knows Aspas well enough, knows how to play around him, and I think Loud gets the win. Les is playing out of his mind as well right now. Quick, Tui's. The whole roster is fantastic. So I think Loud gets the win. I do think this is maybe a 2-1. I think it's a battle. I do. I think King is a good enough IGL to go toe-to-toe with Sadak at a level, but I don't think he's good enough to pull off a win. I just don't think they have the power. I gotta trust in Loud until I see otherwise. They have absolutely destroyed Americas last season and so far this season. They're still rolling. Now, did they struggle in international? Yes. But in Americas, Loud is unequivocally the best team over the last couple of years. You got to give it to them. I think they pull that win off, which puts Leviathan versus Sentinels, which I think is a very fantastic matchup. I think Leviathan gets the win. I do. I think it's going to be close, but I do think this kind of a super team that they've put together is going to get better as time goes on, and I just trust Leviathan a little bit better. They beat 100 Thieves. Sentinels beat 100 Thieves. So you can give them some credit there. But I just think Aspas and this team together, they're going to get the win. It's going to be a close one. That one, probably a 2-1. But that's how I see that going. Moving down to Group C. The one team we haven't seen yet, EG, right? They get the bye because they won the World Championships last year. But 4 new players out of the 5. 4 of the 5 are new players on EG. They also lost an assistant coach to 100 Thieves. They lost 4 players to all sorts of teams. Com to Leviathan, Boostio to 100 Thieves, Demon 1 and Ethan. Moving on to NRG. Tough spot for EG. Can they get one win? To me, how I look at this is, can the head coach Potter, can she script up, design a game plan to win 2 maps? Just to win 1 game. You win 1 game, you're qualified if you're EG. And that would be absolutely huge for team morale if they could. I don't know if they can. G2 looked a little shakier than I expected, but I think it's first time in Tier 1. Remember, this is the team that ascended from the Tier 2 space, got signed by G2, the former guard crew, minus Tex, but add in Leaf, who is an absolutely fantastic player. This is going to be a battle. I'm tempted to say the Potter scheme is good enough. I think she can come up with a way to win 2 maps. If you look at the roster on EG, Jog, world champion last year. He's the one returning. Beyond that, Derek got cut by 100 Thieves. Nature played for a moment with 100 Thieves. Superman, solid player, but not really seen on this Tier 1 stage recently. Apoth, same thing. Are they good? Are they going to be competitive? I think so. Can Potter maybe get Derek back to the Derek we saw a couple of years ago that was quite good? The Clutch King, he was being called. Can they get back to that? I think they can. But I don't think it's going to happen in this round. I think G2 gets the win. I think you're going to have to give Potter a little bit more time. Do I think they get a map? Yes. I think their map pick, very possible EG picks up that map because of the scheme, because of the setup. But I don't think they can win 2. So G2 moves on and is qualified, which leaves us EG and Crew. Now, after watching Crew, I really don't know what to think about this matchup. I mean, you look at their past matches, they're getting rolled by everybody. They did compete, though, with G2. It's not a terrible lineup. They got some players. But I think in that one, I'm changing my picks, I think, from my pick'ems that I had set up previously. After watching the matches, I originally said Crew would win this. Not anymore. I think EG's winning it. I'm not going to change my pick'ems because I set my pick'ems early. I'm sticking with it. But a close game, I think EG is able to pull it off. I didn't see enough out of Crew. I think I'm starting to convince myself that Potter can pull this off. So that's my qualifiers, my new qualifiers, changing this one. EG qualifies by beating Crew. G2 beats EG to qualify. I've got Leviathan beating Sentinels in a close one. I got Loud winning. Potentially a close one. This is the matchup to watch. This is absolutely the matchup to watch. Some fantastic storylines with Ospas moving on. King, a great IGL versus Sadak, a great IGL. The true international team, let's be real here, right? Bunch of different countries represented. I think Loud is just too strong. I do. I was really, really impressed with Loud's win over Sentinels. It was not a win I thought they would get because I thought they would miss their coaching and their star player, really, right? Moves on. Didn't skip a beat. 2-0'd Sentinels. So Loud moves on. NRG. I think Cloud9 moves on. I had them going on in my original pick'ems. Now in a little different order. MIBR has shown some things that were very good. But I think Cloud9 has an extra level that they can get to. So those are my predictions for this weekend. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. A blast to watch these matchups. I cannot wait for them to get started. Let me know in the comments down below, who are your qualifiers? Who do you think qualifies this weekend for the first international of the year in Valorant? It's going to be exciting. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and we'll see you tomorrow.